Have you ever wondered why we can dream so big, yet stumble over the smallest things? And what if just one small habit, started today, could completely transform your future? Would you have the patience to begin? It may sound tough, but the truth is this: success or failure in life is rarely decided by one big event. It is shaped by the small habits we repeat every single day. The most successful people in the world agree on this. Miracles don't happen overnight, but when one day builds upon another, and those days turn into habits, that is when the foundation of the future is truly formed. Yet too often, we fall into the same familiar trap. We dream of something grand, a brilliant career, a comfortable life, a success admired by others. But at the same time, we avoid the small, simple tasks required to reach that dream. Instead, we soothe ourselves with harmless-sounding promises like, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I can always start later." But those words, more than anything else, become the greatest enemies of our lives. Today's story is a clear reminder of that truth. It's about a boy who carried great dreams in his heart, who longed for success, yet lived in constant chaos. He believed that one day, suddenly, his life would change completely. But he forgot an important truth. Life is not a movie where everything transforms in a single dramatic moment. And maybe, just maybe, the few minutes you are spending with this story right now could mark the beginning of a new habit. A habit that may one day change the entire course of your life. In a quiet little town, there lived a boy named Victor. Victor was an ordinary student. He wasn't exceptional enough to stand out, but he wasn't weak enough to be left behind either. Still, deep inside, he carried enormous dreams. He wanted to succeed. He wanted to be recognized. But there was one great obstacle in his way. Victor lacked discipline. He often left tasks unfinished, brushed aside small responsibilities, and could never maintain a steady routine. Though he had big ambitions, Victor never truly committed himself to anything. He wrote countless plans, grand and ambitious, but none of them ever left the page. Whether it was studying, exercising, or learning a new skill, his favorite phrase was always, "I'll start tomorrow." But that tomorrow never came. Victor's parents and teachers often urged him to live with more discipline and consistency, but their words slipped past him like the wind. Deep down, Victor believed that only massive efforts could bring about massive change, and because that very thought intimidated him, he never dared to take his work seriously. Then one day, Victor crossed paths with a wise professor in town. The professor listened carefully to his struggles, then smiled kindly and asked, "Victor, do you know the real secret to living a successful life?" Victor hesitated, then nodded with curiosity. The professor locked eyes with him and said slowly, with measured weight in his voice, "Success doesn't come from doing one great thing in a single day. It comes from the small habits you practice every day." He leaned forward slightly, his gaze carrying the weight of an old story long kept in his heart. Then, in a deep and steady tone, he began to speak, as if every word was meant to etch itself into Victor's memory. Once upon a time, a farmer planted a tiny bamboo seed in his garden. Every day, without fail, he watered it, tended to it, and waited with patience. But after a full year, nothing sprouted from the ground. Still, he did not give up. Another year passed, and there was still nothing. Other plants grew tall and strong, while the bamboo seed lay buried, as if it were lifeless. Neighbors laughed at him, mocking his persistence, telling him he was wasting his time on something hopeless. Victor could almost see the farmer in his mind's eye, his shirt soaked in sweat, his hands trembling as he lifted each bucket of water, pouring it over the bare patch of earth, while laughter echoed all around him. But the farmer did not stop. The professor continued, his voice now carrying the thrill of a secret about to be revealed. He believed in that tiny seed. Quietly, faithfully, he kept caring for it, day after day, year after year. And then, in the 5th year, a miracle happened. In just 6 short weeks, the bamboo shot up toward the sky, soaring nearly 80 feet tall. Everyone stood in shock. But the farmer simply smiled and said, "You thought the seed was rotting in the ground, But no, all this time, it was growing its roots deep beneath the soil, preparing to support a height beyond imagination. The professor paused, his eyes filled with meaning, as he looked at Victor. Do you see? Success in life is just like that bamboo. At first, the small habits may seem insignificant, even invisible, but over time, they are the roots, the deep foundation that allows you to rise to greatness. Victor sat in silence, his head lowered, thoughts swirling restlessly inside him. In that quiet moment, he realized something powerful. All this time he had been waiting for some grand change to fall from the sky, while forgetting that true strength lay in the small, ordinary habits of everyday life. After a long pause, he lifted his head. His voice trembled, but his eyes burned with new determination. Sir, where do I even begin? What small habits can truly change my life? Hearing this, Mr. Miguel's face lit up with a gentle smile. His eyes seemed to gleam with warmth, as though he had been waiting for this very moment, the chance to plant a new seed in Victor's soul. Then listen carefully, he said slowly. I will share with you a few habits. They may seem small, but they have the power to reshape your entire life. He paused for a moment, letting the words settle, and then began. First, wake up early. If you rise just 1 hour earlier each day, that adds up to 365 extra hours in a single year. Can you imagine how much you could accomplish with that time? Victor's eyes widened. He had never thought about time this way before. 1 hour a day seemed so little, yet over a year it became a treasure. He quietly resolved to try, to wake up earlier and use that sacred time to improve himself. Second, read every day. Just 10 pages, that's all. Do that, and in a year you will have finished at least 12 books. And 12 books can completely transform your mindset, your knowledge, and your future. Victor smiled faintly. He had always loved stories, but had never opened a book on self-improvement. Yet something in his teacher's words stirred him deeply. Just 10 pages. So simple, but it could open an entirely new door. Third, set small goals. If you write only 200 words a day, by the end of the year, you will have an entire book. Remember, even the smallest drops of water can eventually form an ocean. Victor nodded slowly. For the first time, he could feel the difference. He didn't have to wait for a grand dream to materialize. He just had to take one small step at a time. Fourth, don't procrastinate. Whenever you feel yourself pulling back, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start immediately. Or tell yourself, I'll just do it for 2 minutes. 2 minutes may sound trivial, but it is the spark that pulls you into action. Victor pictured himself applying this simple rule. No more letting tasks pile up. No more excuses like, tomorrow will be better. Just start. Just act. Fifth, practice gratitude. The professor's voice softened, carrying a calm gentleness. Every night before you go to sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for that day. Just 3 small things. But over time, they will shift your perspective from complaining to appreciating. At first, Victor found the idea amusing. Write down 3 things he was grateful for. It seemed too simple, almost silly. But as the days passed and his notebook filled page by page, something within him began to change. Instead of fixating only on what was missing, he started noticing the quiet joys all around him. A friendly greeting at school, a warm meal with family, or even the golden glow of a sunset. The more he practiced, the lighter and happier he felt. Sixth, exercise for just 10 minutes a day. You don't need to wait for the perfect day to join a gym, the professor said firmly, his eyes filled with conviction. 10 minutes of movement at home each day is enough to keep both your body and your mind strong. Victor thought back to all the times he had delayed, promising himself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never came. This time he tried right away. Just a few simple movements, only 10 minutes, yet he felt his body awaken and his mind grow clearer. No waiting, no excuses. He had discovered a way to take control of his own well-being. Seventh, limit your phone use. The professor's tone grew serious. Each time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, is this helping me grow, or is it wasting my time? Games, social media, they can steal away your most precious hours without you even noticing. Set limits for entertainment and use the rest of your time to invest in yourself. Victor flushed with embarrassment. He knew the professor was right. He had wasted countless hours scrolling aimlessly. But from that day on, he began to question himself each time he reached for his phone. Slowly, he cut back and instead spent more time studying, reading, and improving himself. In the months that followed, Victor faithfully practiced these small habits. At first, no one noticed a difference. Even he sometimes doubted whether anything was changing. But after 3 or 4 months, the results became clear. His focus sharpened, his grades improved, and most importantly, he began to feel confident in himself. By the end of the year, Victor was no longer the same boy. He had become disciplined, responsible, and steady. He no longer sat around, waiting for a grand change to appear out of nowhere. Instead, the small habits he built each day had become the strong foundation on which he was building his own success. Years later, Victor became a well-known entrepreneur, admired and respected by many. People often asked him the same question: "What's the secret to your success?" Victor would simply smile and answer with quiet certainty, "Big results come from small habits. Success doesn't happen because of luck or talent. It is the outcome of the little things we do consistently every single day." If you truly want to change your life, don't wait for a big opportunity. Start with small steps. Just like the bamboo, your efforts may not show results right away, but with patience and persistence, you will rise higher than you ever imagined. Success begins with the smallest steps, so I want to hear from you. Which habit will you start today? And before you go, don't forget to hit like to keep the motivation alive. Share this video to spread the message of positivity, and subscribe to join us on this journey. Every click you make isn't just support, it's inspiration that helps us continue bringing stories that touch the heart and spark real change.